Blessed full moon, my earth angels. Ileana here of Cosmic Bella Wellness. I really wanted to jump on and share some divine guidance for you all. My intention is to provide just some insight to the collective energies, because we as a collective are literally in the middle of such a pivotal time, a time that we can create some lasting, needed change in a positive direction that is going to allow us as a collective to really move forward, and not just move forward, but to bring more harmony, balance, and sovereignty into the collective. Right now we have the full moon that is in the sign of Aries, fiery Aries, and then we also have Mars retrograde. Mars is the planet that it is responsible, it represents our reactions, our actions, the way we take in authority, the way we respond to authority. So we have this in retrograde right now in the sign of Aries. So there's so much room for heated debates, for arguments that really are not necessary at this time, especially when the collective is being pumped with so much oppression, so much fear, that is really trying to get us to conform to something that is not serving for any person who is within this collective. So I felt completely guided to share some guidance utilizing my tarot cards. So I have picked our messages for today. Interestingly enough, all the cards that were chosen are actually all major arcana cards. If you're not familiar with the tarot, when a major arcana card presents itself in a reading, it's usually signifying some kind of external event that is going to create an internal change that then is going to ripple out into an external change. So it's showing that we have this moment of transformation and change. Now, with the full moon energies, that brings this energy of releasing, surrendering, letting go of all that does not serve us. So I felt these cards that are pulled are just completely in divine alignment with what exactly we are all each needing to do and how to take better responsibility for these current changing times. So I'm going to just jump right into it. The first card that was chosen is the Devil card. So I know the Devil card, we're so indoctrinated to believe it's such a horrible card, but it's actually not. When the Devil card is presented in a reading, it is solely, it's not evil in any way. It's solely bringing to awareness that a lot of our actions have been acted upon out of ego. It's very egoic when we see the Devil card presented in a reading, showing that, vanity, superficiality is something that in a sense is very prevalent, very prominent right now for this time. So that's also showing that a lot of individuals are making choices right now based on fear. And that to me makes absolute sense, because on every single media platform right now, we as a collective are constantly being pumped with fear. There is so much fear seeping in, and fear at a vibrational level is very sticky, very dense, and it keeps you at a lower vibration. Fear, when our choices are driven through fear, we are unable to fully connect to choices that are beneficial for us. We are not able to connect to choices that are for the absolute benefit of ourselves, our family, our loved ones. So this is showing that we are in a position right now where a lot of our actions are being driven through fear. So it's so important that you take a step back, become aware of yourself, and become aware of the actions and the parts that you decided that I'm going to pursue this out of fear of my health, fear of my life, fear of breaking rules, fear of not conforming, whatever fear is really driving your life right now. It's so important to take a step back, because that fear is not going to create a stable foundation for your future. I'm telling you that right now. Looking at things from a vibrational sense, when we are creating and trying to stabilize and create foundations through making choices that are based out of fear, that fear vibration being seeped into whatever foundation we're trying to create is not going to create anything that is stable for us to work and build from. So it's very important that you are not allowing yourself to be driven from fear. Make your choices based on love and compassion. It is absolutely important to do so. And this makes sense how a lot of us are thinking, we're behaving through our ego. We're thinking, oh yeah, I'm better than you because I'm doing this, or whatever narratives the ego decides for us to think that we're doing the right, making the right decision, that we are just literally being a part of something. However, it's important that we don't allow our ego to take control. We don't allow our ego to be the one driving our life, because that is the way that you are going to get burned. You are going to not make the proper decisions for yourself, and you're most likely going to have to come back and revisit some situations that maybe were not based on love and compassion, but more so driven and based upon fear. Don't allow the fear tactics to seep into your psyche, into your heart. Do some practice of stillness, especially with this Aries energy. It's important that you find and cultivate a practice of stillness within yourself. Meditation, going for walks, physical exercise, dancing, things and actions that allow you to cultivate a practice of stillness, so that way you are not going to be driven by fear. You will be able to make logical, heart-centered actions and step into a direction that is going to be more beneficial and empowering for you. Okay, so then we also have the Justice card, number 11 in the Major Arcana. Now the Justice card, when this pops up in reverse, which we did receive it in a reverse, it's showing that there is a lot of oppressive energies in the collective, which makes absolute sense. Like I had mentioned with this Devil card, with this fear seeping in, every single media platform, every single conversation in households right now are all to do with fear. Okay, so it's very oppressive. Fear is a very oppressive energy. So it's also showing that there is a lot of misinformation, a lot of educational difficulties, very overbearing, a lot of overbearing laws, rules, no room for flexibility. People are very inflexible, very rigid. They are also doing their best to ignore internal prodding toward action that is going to create growth and change in some way. So it's important that you do not conform. And I say that with as much love and conviction as possible, because that conformity is later going to definitely zap you in the ass. Pardon my French. It's important that we not ignore the ways that we are being oppressed. However, it's also important that we do not act from a place of oppression or a place of fear. Now, we received this beautiful Sun card, number 19 in the Major Arcana, which literally talks about self-mastery, personal transformation, and becoming one's own authority. Our collective consciousness is purposely being driven into a lower vibration. So it's important that we each show up as community leaders, as leaders within ourselves. We have this beautiful divine opportunity to start doing some internal prodding, some internal discovery, connecting to our authentic self, truly connecting to our heart, to decisions, to choices, to this voice of truth that lies within us, and start acting and moving forward with our own honesty, with our own integrity. You know deep down inside that something is not right, and the current affairs, the current world affairs, there's just something that is not sitting correctly. So it's important that you sit with that in stillness and start to become aware of your own divine message. Start to become aware of the message your higher self, your God, your guides, any higher power that is doing its best to connect to you right at this time. It's important that you connect to that as well, because this is the only way that we as a collective are going to be able to move forward in a direction that is going to be beneficial for everyone involved. It's important that we stay in our heart, that we move with compassion, and most importantly, have compassion with ourselves, that we unite with one another and we become our own authority. We stick up for one another. It's important we stand together. However, that standing together first comes from making the commitment and taking the steps to be your own leader, to be your own authority, to be your own educator, your own teacher, to be your own doctor, to be your own authority in some way. It is so important that you listen to this message, because this is how you are going to create personal transformation. And that personal transformation is going to ripple out into the collective to create a collective transformation. And that transformation is then going to be more in our favor as a collective, for our survival, for our goodness. There is some sort of alchemical growth. There's some sort of alchemical transformation that is wanting to occur through this oppression, through this fear. Your higher self is saying to you, time to rise above that fear, time to sit in stillness and to face that fear and to conquer it with our own light, with our own honesty, with our own love, most importantly. And this is the only way that we're going to be able to move forward. So tonight, with the energies of the full moon, write down all that does not serve you, all the things that you wish to release, any fears that you have, whether it be in your own life, collective fears, any sort of fear that is on your mind that is just, you can't ignore it. Write it down on a piece of paper, and then I want you to use the element of fire and burn that paper physically. Once you have done that, also, when you have the opportunity, please take a beautiful bath with some Epsom salts, utilize some essential oils, some plant medicines. It's important that we are also clearing ourselves of all the vibrations that do not serve us. Our thoughts generate energy. So when we start to generate a different mindset, when we start to think in a different mindset and allow ourselves to take ourselves out of our regular thinking and start thinking differently, that thought process, that mindset shift creates an energetic shift. Therefore, there's going to be a lot of energy that is not going to be serving you when you need to move forward with this energetic shift, with this mindset shift. So there's going to be certain energy that you need to release. So taking that salt bath is going to help ease that surrender, that letting go, that releasing energy. Is going to seep out any vibrations. That salt is going to absorb it and get rid of what just does not serve you. So it's important that you do take that time for yourself. Also, you can get into a nice meditation when you're in the bath. Get out and do some physical exercise. Exercise is also an amazing way that you can release unserving energies that do not belong in your energetic field. And at this time, it's very important that we are taking responsibility of ourselves and our energy, most importantly, so we can really step forward in a positive direction and allow for positive change to occur. So that is your message for this month of October, for these full moons and all these retrogrades. We've had a lot of retrogrades that are now have gone direct. There is so much information out there on how you can internally discover and journey into yourself, how you can find yourself, how you can really connect to yourself. There's literally so much information. I highly recommend delving into that and finding what resonates with yourself, most importantly, because better understanding your soul's resonance is what is going to really allow you to excel at this time and really show up as a leader for yourself, for your family, and for your community. I'm going to leave you on this note. If you knew how supported you are, what would you do? What would you do differently if you knew that you walked out and by not conforming, you would not be penalized? What would you do? If you knew how supported you were and you knew how your support system, your spiritual team, your higher vibrational team supported you, what would you do differently? It's time we start rising and uniting as a collective. This is the time if there ever was. Sending you guys so much love. Thank you.